Hello, welcome to Animal Punditry, the show where we have a trough of takes on topics you might care about. I'm Eric.
I'm James.
So it's a pilot episode. This is a big day. We'll see how it goes. And it's mostly because it's been a good headlines week. I mean,
Well, you know why?
yeah.
It's because all these international leaders, they're just like you and me. They all have New Year's resolutions. And
Mm.
so they're going to be, headstrong in January, just like we all are. Instead of gym memberships, they're moving troops near Ukraine. It's just what they do. Like, it's their thing, man.
Yeah. It's a time, a new year, it's a time of rediscovery that unfortunately has been real commercialized but not militarized. And I feel like our friend over in over in Russia is trying to rediscover himself in a way. So he's making the biggest move since Crimea. So I'm excited to dig into that.
Hey, do you remember when, oh, okay, all right, I just looked it up. So I was wondering when Russia first kind of sent the little green men into Crimea or whatever. In
Mm.
my mind, I don't know why I was thinking it was in the summer, but I think that was just misinformation, big misinformation podcast over here. And
We are strictly facts all the time
all the time.
and not being part of the worst aspects of modern media at the moment.
Well, I was gonna say Putin was just enjoying a nice hot girl summer when he first invaded Crimea. But now a quick Google search said it was from February 20th to March 26th that all that started. So
Really leading into the Russian winter advantage, I guess.
yeah, I guess he wanted it, finished before the hockey playoffs started. So
I
make sure all of
guess.
his guys.
Yeah. I mean, he doesn't want anything on his plate for when just to watch Ovi play. I think that's got to be. I don't know.
You heard the rumor about Putin giving Ovechkin a black credit card that he
It's
can
got to
just
be
do
true.
whatever with.
It's got to be true. I mean, he's a Russian cultural ambassador in addition to being a world-class athlete. So
If that's true, I wonder how much money Russia has pumped into the informal DC economy through. I don't know. I don't want to say narcotics, but just different things, probably.
Ovi's a different kind of oligarch
I hope
in
he's a
this.
good tipper. You know,
I hope so too. I feel like he would be. He seems like
he
a
seems like
pretty
a
nice
nice guy.
guy. Yeah,
Yeah, he seems
yeah,
chill.
yeah, for sure. So I've so the Putin factor is something that I thought of as well, and it ties into the Kazakh protests and crackdown. Um, so the satellite states just going down basically. Does is this kind of just seems like we're getting a peek behind the curtain, kind of seeing how sausage is made of being a regional hegemon, of like, oh, these are the day-to-day fires I got to put out. Oh, some protests over in Kazakhstan. All right, we're going to help stamp those out. Got to put some pressure to the West, put some troops over there. It's just kind of, some people are saying, oh, this is going to be the big thing. This is the big thing. I feel like taking Crimea is something, but like an invasion of Ukraine is a whole nother. Like if you kind of think about it as like a house party, you can go into the cake, slice off a little corner, and people will be like mildly annoyed at you, and you like eat it off to the side, and everyone's like, you can look smug and people can get frustrated. But I feel like if Putin were to invade Ukraine, it'd be like taking that cake, sitting in the middle of the party, getting a big spoon, and just like eating it and staring at everyone to like do something. And those are very different things to do at a party. And in terms of invasions, little Crimea right there is very different from going in with Ukraine. just from a military logistics standpoint, let alone the geopolitical implications.
Yeah, the old salami slicing, but you're going with the cake
Yeah,
kind of
I
metaphor,
knew you
which
were gonna say salami slicing, so I wanted to come in with my own. I'm a baker myself, uh, not by trade. I wish I was, but yeah.
I mean, does that not kind of remind you? And I was just looking at the Wall Street Journal articles on it right now, and I guess Jen Psaki was kind of talking about how a potential like false flag operation, like Russia could
Mhm.
use it to like invade Ukraine and stuff, and it just seems like it's a lot of it is like reminding you of like Georgia in 2008 when they were kind of baiting them to like they're kind of baiting them almost into a war there. And yeah, so I get that, but doesn't it kind of like seem to you almost like if like Biden and those folks keep calling it out, because like obviously that's two different things you do. One, like you recognize internally, hey, this is like Russia's strategy, but to go ahead and put it out into an open source like world type thing, using your communications director, that's something else. So I feel like they're almost calling, in your metaphor, if you were trying to take a corner of the cake because you're a piece of shit, then Saskia would be over the cake, calling you out every step of the way, getting all the eyes on you, so that you're gonna turn, your cheeks are gonna turn red as you even start to cut out that first one, and then before eventually shoving the cake in your face and getting it all over your beard or something. So I feel like that's kind of where we are right now, and hopefully Putin can kind of just pull back and say, "Oh, I wasn't doing anything, I swear." But I don't know. There's been those theories before of Putin when he is pressured from intra border circumstances, and right now I feel like you definitely have one with COVID, that he'll act on some external activity. And you know I would love to get into like just the mind of this guy, because at the end of the day it's him kind of making these shots, and I'm sure he has a minister here and a minister there, giving him different points of view. But what makes a guy just be like, it's January, I'm gonna go ahead and start up these operations.
Yeah, it is quite the posture. Okay, so in the last minute of talking about this, uh, say he does it. Does NATO basically informally invoke the fifth? Do they do anything? Or they just kind of set up a line at just over the border of Ukraine?
Well, Ukraine's not in NATO.
No, I know. I guess by informally invoking the fifth, be like, we basically think of Ukraine, even though they're not officially in NATO,
Mm-hmm.
and nor may they ever be. But we are going to think of this aggressive behavior kind of, we're going to retaliate in some sort of posture ourselves. I don't know if that'll be, I don't think they would want to engage in direct conflict, but they would want to show up and do something or look like something, which could be an enhanced military presence
I mean,
nearby.
I think it's going to do, and this is probably what Putin hopes this reaction will do, is kind of divide NATO a little bit, because
Mm-hmm.
you'll have those Eastern European countries that are thinking, all right, am I next? And then
Yeah.
you'll have the Western European countries kind of saying, how does this affect me? They're not even in NATO. Why can't we can just stay out of this? And you're going to go, especially like you're one of the countries that's not directly affected by this. You're going to go back and tell your population, oh, I'm sending some of our guys to go die because what's the end of that sentence? And I
Yeah.
feel like that's always kind of the one of the deciding factors, and like in these types of situations, and that's why I do think we see like proxy moves towards this. So maybe it's not necessarily, oh, we're going to fully support them, but maybe you'll see like financial sanctions on Russia. You know, there's other measures, including like, I know a lot of people are going to say like we should start sending arms and stuff to Ukraine as well. I know that was a big thing, and I think it was like the fall of 2017, beginning of 2018, to send arms to Ukraine. So I'm sure that will like pop up again. But I mean, like, I don't think there's an easy answer to this, and I don't think that the response by NATO is going to be fully endorsed, whatever it is.
Totally, yeah, because you've got the Baltic states. Don't be like, guys, please, and then you'll have, I don't know, like Spain, just like, can we just have tapas? Russia's literally never been a problem for us. So yeah, I don't know, it'll be quite interesting to watch how this plays out. But on to arguably,
what do you think the time frame is for this, you know? Like, do you think that there is a certain time frame Putin's looking for here? Do you think that if you get past this date, his opportunity window is closed, or you think it's kind of indefinite? Like, oh, he could just push this off, even pull back his troops, and then, you know, let's say in 4 or 5 months he puts them back over there just to cause trouble again and stuff. Or do you think a pullback like that is possible?
I don't even think I have any sort of guess on this one. I feel like troops will pull back pretty soon. That's my gut reaction.
Mm-hmm.
I am not willing to stand by that take, though. At all. At all.
Our listeners are getting the best of the hot takes right now.
Exactly.
I think the only thing that comes to mind is you know, they are doing all of this stuff within their own borders.
Yeah.
Right. So there's literally a line for them to cross. But as long as they don't cross that line, you know, I feel like they can kind of move around and stuff. I think it'll be interesting to see how Russia views. I mean, maybe if they push forward and they pull their troops back, maybe they lose a little legitimacy. Maybe they don't, because everyone's still thinking the next time Putin does this, oh, this might be the one.
Right. He kind of that is something that he is the master of, and is maintaining an element of uncertainty in everyone in the bloc EU, back in the States. There's like, every time you sit down, am I going to sit on like the tack? I guess he's like he's got that dialed in, which is pretty. I mean, he has the autonomy as an authoritarian style leader, to kind of have the posture that he wants to, and act more unilaterally than, say, Joey B does.
Joe Burrow.
Dude, exactly.
Oh, Biden. Joe Biden.
Oh, that guy. Heard of him. All right, shall we move on to this is arguably way more important than the next couple of these. So Novak Djokovic. I haven't seen a Serbian go through a trial like this in over 20 years. I don't know about you, but I mean, it's quite the ride he's on, / the world is on. Is he gonna get kicked out? Is he not? We're going back and forth. Do you think the Australians are gonna actually go through with deporting him, or let him play?
I think the real question is, what was the bigger foreign policy move, this or the AUKUS alliance and the nuclear submarines? So I hold both of these right on level with each other.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of weird. I definitely get the sense from New Zealand. I get it kind of with Australia too, in terms of like their customs and stuff. They fucking hate when other people start bringing shit into there. Like New Zealand, like they don't have any poisonous like animals, plants, or whatever. You could fall asleep on the forest floor, wake up the next day, and be fine.
Yeah.
Australia, not so much. They have some very deadly things, but even they still don't like other deadly things like coming into their borders.
Right.
So
I don't
at
know.
the same time, how much money do you lose from not having Joker on the TV set for the Australian Open?
They're really
You know?
interesting, parties involved in this. Do you value public health or those sweet, sweet media dollars? You know, is it? I imagine I forgot like the uh, tennis federation official name or whatever, but obviously they want Djokovic to play, and people might protest and not watch who would normally watch, even those that aren't Serbian. I imagine there might be some American Serbs that are conservative who will not watch the Australian Open. Maybe there are other folks that will not watch it either. I don't know. And so, yeah, I guess is the man who definitely going through these trials and tribulations that no one's gone through before, most unfairly treated person. I mean, he's been waiting long enough, right, to be. I mean, well, I guess so. He's definitely waiting long enough to be clear and not be, even if he had it, just not contagious. So like is the principled stand is the clash of principled stands going to, which one's going to prevail, I guess. And I think it would be hilarious if the Australian government actually kicked him out, but I don't think they're going to. I think they'll let him play.
Tennis is having a moment, aren't they, on the international stage?
Truly, I was just thinking about the Chinese star too.
Yeah, Peng Shuai, or Peng Shuai, either. I'm not sure if this opinion or not, but yeah, I mean, her pretty much disappearing in December of 2021, and then in January 2021, you got the whole Joker thing. I'm worried what February is going to bring. Is Roger Federer is he gonna become like a Bond villain or something? I just don't know.
He's gonna emerge from his submarine outside Wimbledon.
You gotta watch out for those Swiss, man. I tell you, in all the Bond films, there's always some part of the film that goes through Switzerland. So
right.
I'm not accusing. I'm just saying, watch out.
Just saying. We're just saying that you got to keep an eye on Federer. We don't know.
You gotta keep an eye out for him. It's just another cool thing I do think of. Like when you look at what's different today that wasn't in international politics or foreign policy considerations, even like 60, 70 years ago, is like this soft power dynamic of like athletes and celebrities, of like, movie stars, stuff like that, musicians, the role they play in all of this, and very different roles sometimes. Sometimes you get athletes making a gesture. I think, what was it, the 1960 Olympics in Mexico City, where I forget their names, but they stood on the podiums and gave the Black Power signal.
I was just thinking about Jesse Owens in Germany.
Yeah, in Germany with dude, that's one of my favorite stories. I love that.
Dude, it's so freaking cool.
We're for our listeners, we're a very anti-Hitler podcast. We're one of the few out there, apparently.
This is another take that we agree on. It's hot.
Only the spicy from us.
But Hitler bad. Yep.
Yeah, and so I guess like you kind of saw the evolution, but not at this level. Where you see Novak Djokovic, you see Peng Shuai. I mean, I'm sure there will be incidences of people protesting at the Olympics in China. In terms of the at the very least, their what they believe would be, you know, human rights violations in various areas, including Xinjiang. So it's kind of cool though to like kind of, because I mean obviously my athletic history is coming, or it's come and gone. My potential for being a world class star, unless I get
James, don't sell yourself short like that.
Unless I get bitten by a radioactive spider or something, which, and I would not protect New York City. I would definitely go and become an athlete 100%.
Right. Peter Parker took the wrong moral stance there. That's for sure.
Terrible. Would never do that. I'd be a wideout immediately. But yeah, it is interesting. And I think we'll see this more and more of athletes kind of, whether they want it or not, when they get in certain situations or environments, they're going to have a spotlight kind of put on them for just going through what other people like in other decades or so would have just normally gone through without any attention being brought onto them.
Totally.
And I don't know, the one thing about this is I don't know whether or not that means that like how much we should listen to their thoughts. Right. Obviously, like we need to listen to their experiences and such, but do we need like every single athlete's opinion on like very complex, complicated political situations that even academics will go back and forth on? And obviously, like I think that their voices should be heard and stuff, but at the same time, how much credence should like we give to what they're saying? And a good fact check would always, because I wouldn't know, like, you know, I studied politics, but I didn't study, you know, tennis, or I didn't study, you know, like rugby or something like that. I'm not going to come in and start telling you what strategy is best to get the ball to the outside on a 15v15 thing. I don't know.
Yeah. And the identity matters so much about the given situation. So if like their identity lends credence to their argument, and that's like Colin Kaepernick, for instance, like a black man talking about a black community issue, he gets, you know, a sense of heightened, you know, legitimacy because he experiences it in his daily life. But quick sidebar about Spider-Man being wide receiver, there would never be intentional grounding because you can just use your webs and freaking get it. And
yeah, I think Goodell would be all over that. I don't think he would allow webbing, would be very much disallowed, but Belichick would find a way to use it before it became illegal.
Webbygate. And second of all, you'd at least get one touchdown because it's not against the rules, you know.
It's like Air Bud. If it's not in the rules,
right,
if it doesn't say a dog can't play basketball,
exactly,
you're good.
Exactly. But to the interesting, actually intelligent things you were saying before, it's really interesting how the dynamic of soft powers heightened so much and broadened in its scope, and gotten hotter in more ways, not in like the actual conflict, but in the sense that more heightened tensions around soft power conflicts. And I'm curious if that will, you know, eventually lead to actual hard conflict at some point. But I don't know. I'd much rather take soft power squabbles over war. That's for sure. But we'll kind of see if that continues to be the trend.
I mean, it's definitely, I just wonder what the evolution is going to be, because it definitely right now, the advantage to like, I guess, or not advantage, but like one of the, not even consequence, just result of, you know, these athletes being put into the spotlight on one issue or the other is awareness. Like it automatically draws awareness, right? Now, have we seen results from that awareness? Maybe in domestic issues, through kind of the power of the purse, like with the consumer and stuff. You might see like certain companies kind of hopping on the back of that and stuff. But from an international standpoint, even with like international trade with those same domestic companies, how much do you see it actually resulting in like long-term full change? How many people have brought like awareness to, maybe a little bit of forced labor in Xinjiang, and then saying, hey, these companies are over here working on this, but hasn't really resulted in any long-term change. Have these companies gone away from that labor and they kind of came back to it and winked and said, hey, just make sure this is all legal, right? You can hire a consultant for a couple $100,000 and send them over there and tell them to tell you that, yeah, it all checks out, when maybe they missed a couple of things.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways, I'm sure you have other topics.
Just one more, really. Boris Johnson, the garden party. This is high drama international news. I don't know if you heard about this, but basically, I think we kind of got the serious topic gone first. But for those of you who don't know, basically, I think it was May 2020. So people are aware of what's going on at this point. I know we said that we were done with COVID, but it goes back to COVID, and I apologize. But basically, there was a huge party invite sent out to 40, 50 people, and Boris Johnson attends in May 2020. And it was just pretty hysterical that almost 2 years later that came around to bite them in the ass. We're like, Brits and their garden parties. I don't know. It's just like, maybe the weather was nice and it was weird for the UK. So it's like, even though there's this like novel thing that's actually new and we don't know anything about it at the time, but the sun's out. So we gotta do that. It doesn't matter. Darties don't sleep. Darties wait for no one.
They're not just gonna go away. Yeah, exactly. I just love that. Like, I think this kind of speaks to the value of an apology. Boris Johnson comes out here saying, "I'm so sorry. I should have just told them all to leave." Yeah, probably had a great time. He probably looks back at it and he was like, "Well, I don't think any of us really caught it from there. If not, I think the deaths were negligible." It's like a teenager getting caught, like going to like a house party or something. Myself. He gets home late. Yep. Your parents smell alcohol in your breath, and they're like, "You're just bummed you got caught." "Oh, I'm sorry. Like, that was just a poor decision at the time." Yeah, a poor decision that you'd probably make again if you were like 3 or 4 months from now. So I just think it was funny that he was apologizing for it. But what else are you supposed to do?
Yeah.
I mean, what's the correct answer besides "I'm sorry"? Exactly. Right? I had a fantastic time, but I won't do it again.
Yep. Oh man, it's just fun. It's just fun stuff.
I got an idea. All right, looking towards by the end of 2022, since we are recording this in January, by the end of 2022, give me a hot take that you think would happen. Give me a hot take. What's like, really lean into it. What do you think is going to happen by the end of 2022 on the international stages? I bet you one major world leader is going to die. I can see that. I could see that happening in 2022. We had a pretty quiet 2021. COVID's still kind of hanging around. Mm-hmm. We got some older folks in office / less on the healthy side. Not pointing fingers, but looking at you, Kim Jong-un. Maybe one of them kicks the bucket or has to resign for health reasons. I'm gonna put that little bit in there too, just so I can. It's like a spread. I'm gonna cover the spread right there with the resign for health reasons. Give me like a +7.5.
Okay. Imran Khan and Narendra Modi play cricket at the border for who gets Kashmir. That's and then Modi wins. Khan gets humiliated, has to resign in disgrace, flees to Afghanistan. But more reasonable, a little bit more reasonable take than that is, um, your talk about a world leader dying. Um, I'm gonna go with. I mean, Modi's kind of popular right now, but I think Modi's gonna get the boot from office, and there's gonna be a power struggle in India that is pretty ugly.
Wow, I like
That's
it.
that's that's
I'm
where I'm
kind of
landing.
jealous. I feel like mine's I feel like mine's too vanilla now. All right, I'm gonna put this one out there now. I think that there will be all right, I think I'm gonna redo mine. I think there's gonna be a casualty from a South China Sea territorial dispute. I think a fishing boat is going to go down, or there is going to be like a submarine malfunction. Something's going to happen. There's going to be a casualty in the South China Sea territorial dispute. We got too many Chinese kind of what do they call them? Like maritime militias out there, just roaming around. Not a lot of authority over them. We got too many countries overlapping. Something is bound to happen. And if it doesn't happen in 2022, I'm going to take it as my hot take for 2020.
I'm gonna piggyback
So
your 2023 hot take with my like lukewarm hot take, because I don't want this to be my 2023 hot take at the start of 2022, but a South China Sea squabble between Vietnam and China will distract U.S. military tension, Taiwan grab.
see, I've always thought I think Taiwan's going to get overtaken via like cyber warfare. I really do think that's going to be the
Mm.
way. Yeah, I think they're literally at some point they're just going to shut down just everything and just kind of not pretty much hold it hostage or make it look like it was a outside entity and just say Taiwan, your government just couldn't protect you at all. Like
So
join me in the
this
dark
is like a
side.
virtual Bay of Pigs situation, basically.
No, because it works.
Okay, all right, yeah. All right. Um, cool. I like that. Beginning of the year take. I like that.
I remember I was talking to one of our professors. I was like, China can't rise really until all of their like can be considered risen in terms of like and until they've kind of solved all these territorial disputes. You got the one China India, the Tibet one, the South China Sea, the East China Sea, Hong Kong, not really, because that's still a part of China. They're just kind of speeding up the
Yep.
timeline, then over, bring it back under control, and then Taiwan, obviously. And I remember he said, because I was like, "Do you think they'll take it over by force?" And he said, "It won't be that China needs to take over Taiwan by force. It'll be that China has already risen because Taiwan will want to join."
Hmm.
And if you get into an economic situation that's depressing enough for you to give away your freedoms for pretty much a buyout, I could see
Yeah.
it. But I think at that point it's just kind of a number. But man, if I was in Taiwan, I would look over and see what they were doing to Hong Kong and Xinjiang, and I'd kind of just say no, thank you. But then again, I'm not Taiwanese, so
That's true. Thank you all for tuning in to the first episode of Animal Punditry. Love you all dearly and look forward to having you back here next week. Credits. There's just two of us, and that's all. And that's okay. It doesn't take more than that. It's just the two of us.
you're forgetting a sponsor. Hams.
Hams beer from the land of sky blue waters. It is by far the best tasting, the not cheapest beer, but most economic beer. I have a master's in economics. The marginal benefits are off the charts, and the marginal costs are nil. So if that isn't the most no-brainer choice, I don't know what is. So just choose Hams. as simple as that.